Okay, so it's always fascinating when tour players are making what look like really big changes in their swing. See, everybody looks at the best golfers in the world and think that they've got it all figured out and they never have to mess with their swing, and that's just not the case. And the best example for that is Rory McIlroy. In the changes that he's going through right now to improve a key position in his swing, and it's something that'll help you a lot. So I want to shed some light on my opinion of what I think he's working on and why I think it's going to really help him have one of the best years he's had in the last 10 years. So the big fault that Rory has in his swing right now is that when he's taking the club back, his trail arm is staying extended for too long. And I saw Jonathan Yarwood on Twitter, who I'm actually having on the podcast this week, gave a really good insight of talking about how when the trail arm basically locks out for too long in the swing, what that does is it causes the trail shoulder to over rotate, which causes the shaft of the golf club to pitch what we call an across the line position, which for the average golfer is going to make it really hard to get the club back down on plane in the downswing and then arrive back to the ball in a consistent manner. Number one thing he's working on right now is just trying to feel, as he's taking the club back, a little bit earlier set here in the trail wrist. We talk a lot about getting the fingers to go back of the palm, and that's what we're seeing with Rory right now. And what he's doing when he's doing this is he's getting that palm to feel like it's facing a little more towards the sky. The problem he's having right now is that when he was taking it back, he does a really good job of applying a lot of pressure to the lead thumb knuckle with his trail palm. You hear us talk about this a lot in the pushing. But there is a point where you can push too much. And that's where he was kind of running into those problems to where because of the amount of pressure he was applying to that lead thumb knuckle, that was causing his arm to basically just lock, which, like Jonathan was saying, causing that shoulder to over rotate, and then elbow and hand and arm weren't really working properly from the takeaway to the top. That was causing a lot of that swing plane issues that we're seeing with him. So number one change he's going through right now is just proper movement of the fingers back of the palm and feeling that a little softer trail arm to get the proper rotation to the top. So if I just set the compact club down for a sec and grab the claw ball, our latest training aid, what we could do is we could do a really simple drill that we do with every single one of our students, which is taking a ball, putting it right here in the claw ball. And the thing I'm going to really focus on with this kind of use case, I'm just going to get the proper hand and arm rotation to where this blade is going to point just underneath my trail shoulder, okay? That's going to get the proper rotation almost to where I feel like I can serve a platter, okay? Because if I did this incorrectly, like Rory was doing, the ball would stay in here, but then as that shoulder over rotates and the elbow starts kind of pulling and getting too deep, that's where that ball would be more flying that direction, opposed to, if I do this properly, we're pushing just like he is, but we're also getting a little bit more fingers back of the palm, okay? That's going to get the ball to feel like it's going more over that trail shoulder, a really good use case for the ball hole, and doing this with the weight of the claw ball is a great way to exercise the hand and arm movements. So go grab a claw ball. But just back to the compact club here for a second. There is a couple things that I feel like he could be doing a little bit better, because and this is a very common thing in golf instruction, is that if you don't get to the root cause of the problem, you start thinking about more of the arm and the shoulder. And yes, that is what is being affected, but the root cause of everything can really be kind of isolated down to one key piece, and it's the hook of the index finger. And how, for our students and everybody here at Claw, we like to have the students feel like they're getting that finger to set back of the palm and really get that proper loading of that hook of that index finger. You hear us talk a lot about this hook, and getting it loaded right to begin with ensures you're going to have the best chance to, from the takeaway, transition the club just underneath that trail shoulder. So in my opinion, the biggest problem that Rory has in his swing right now is that he does an incredible job of pushing with his palm against that lead thumb knuckle, but he's not pulling early enough with that hook of that index finger to set the fingers back of the palm and create that soft trail arm that he talks about, that him and Butch have tried working on. So again, you can kind of fix three things by just fixing one thing, and that's why it is so important to have that hook of that index finger to where it's hooked down the grip further than the thumb, is that now you can utilize that to get the proper set here to where, look at what we got. We got the club head to where it's just inside the hands, and you can see that's what he's working on. He's got this drill where he's got a water bottle and he's just trying to feel like he's not hitting that. If he just pushes, that's where it's just so locked, and it becomes so reliant on the timing of how well he's using his body, because of, again, when you're pushing, you're just using more of the bigger muscles and you're not really using the fingers and the hands and arms, which is really what the best players in the world should be using. Okay, so we're going to flip the perspective here and just talk about this hook of this index finger and how it needs to be hooked down the grip and how it's really useful for getting the proper movements. And I think that Rory could be utilizing this a little more in his swing. As he goes back, he's doing such an incredible job of pushing that trail palm against lead thumb knuckle, but again, that gets that arm locked, gets the shaft really pitched across the line, hands really deep. Now it's really hard to recover from there. So if he just, as he was pushing, got the index finger hooked back a little more, really felt that loading of the index finger, it would be easier to get the hands and arms a little more in front of him, shaft a little more on plane, and then easier transition down into the ball. So again, it always goes back to the root cause of everything. This is something that'll help every golfer. This is something that we're working on with every single one of our students, just getting them to understand how the fingers are setting back of the palm. So for the average golfer, and again, for the best golfers in the world, if you just push and you don't set the fingers back of the palm, it's going to be hard to understand how to get the proper hand and arm rotation to the top and then arrive back down to where you can drive the heel ahead of the toe at the inside of the ball and then right down the target line with the grooves to the sky. So again, it's always cause and effect. And remember, it's okay to be handsy. We want to feel like we're using our hands and arms properly, getting that feel. I really think this will help Rory a lot with his wedge game and just understanding how to push with the palms and set the fingers back of that palm pressure. Again, you can get so focused on, okay, this is where I want the arm to be and I want the soft trail arm, but the soft trail arm and how the trail arm is moving is the effect of what your claws are doing. So a really great drill for this is just taking the index finger, hooking it down the grip, and then grab the club just below the super stroke grip here. And now from here, you're going to be pushing down and away from the body. But as you're doing this, you're going to pull that club to where it's behind the handle. Okay, feel it in that hook of that index finger. Now I'm just going to pull it back just underneath my trail shoulder. That's getting the hands and arms to stay a little more in front of me, getting the proper plane. Now it's going to transition down properly and then release right down the target line. So we got a lot of videos on how to create the claws, get them concentrated against the handle, and then now we can utilize those to understand these changes these tour players are going through, and just have a deeper understanding of this hand to handle to face relationship. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.